Welcome back. Today we're taking a closer look at 3 pennies that many people might overlook, but collectors see very differently. From older wheat cents to special modern issues, these coins may seem ordinary at first, but a few rare examples have surprised people with their value. It all comes down to small details most don't notice, and that's exactly what we're going to explore. So let's get started and see what makes these pennies stand out. First up, we take a closer look at one of the most mysterious and talked about coins in American coin collecting, the 1964 SMS Lincoln penny without a mint mark, found today in circulated condition. At first glance, this coin may look like just another old penny. It may appear brown, worn, and slightly dull from years of use. The surface might show small scratches, and the shine that once covered it is likely gone. Most people would not give it a second thought. But collectors know that this simple-looking coin can hide one of the biggest secrets in modern U.S. coin history. The story of this coin begins in 1964, a time when the United States was facing a serious coin shortage. People were saving coins, silver prices were rising, and the U.S. Mint was under heavy pressure to produce as many coins as possible. Billions of pennies were made that year, and most of them were released quickly into circulation. These were normal coins meant for everyday use. But something unusual happened behind the scenes. Even though official special mint sets, known as SMS coins, were not supposed to begin until 1965, a very small number of 1964 pennies were made with a special finish and higher quality. These coins were struck with more care, using polished dies and stronger pressure. The result was a coin with smoother surfaces, sharper details, and a more refined look compared to regular circulation coins. These are what collectors now call the 1964 SMS Lincoln pennies. What makes this even more interesting is that the U.S. Mint never officially explained why these coins were made. They were not announced and they were not released in regular sets. Because of this, they have become one of the biggest mysteries in coin collecting. Experts believe that only a very small number of these coins exist today, making them extremely rare. Now let's look at the design. On the front of the coin, you will see the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln faces to the right, with the word Liberty on the left side and the date 1964 on the right. Above his head are the words "I in God we trust." Because this coin has no mint mark, it means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which did not use mint marks on pennies during that time. On the back, the coin shows the Lincoln Memorial, a design that was used from 1959 to 2008. The memorial stands in the center, with United States of America above and 1 cent below. In higher quality coins, you can even see a small image of Lincoln sitting inside the memorial. However, in circulated coins like this one, many of these fine details may be worn down. Now let's talk about the condition. This coin is described as circulated, which means it has been used in everyday life. The high points of the design, such as Lincoln's hair and cheek, are likely worn smooth. The surface may have scratches, marks, and a darker color due to years of handling. The original bright red color of the copper has probably turned into a brown shade, which is normal for older pennies. But here's where things get exciting. Even though this coin is worn, collectors do not ignore it. That's because the value of a 1964 SMS penny is not just about its condition, but about its unique features. Experts look for certain signs that separate SMS coins from regular ones. These include very sharp details, squared edges on the rim, and a smooth, almost satin-like surface. Even in circulated condition, some of these features can still be seen. Another key point is rarity. It is believed that fewer than 50 genuine 1964 SMS pennies exist. That is an extremely small number compared to the billions of regular pennies made that year. Because of this, collectors are always searching for them, even in old collections or jars of coins. Now let's talk about value, which is what makes this coin truly exciting. Verified 1964 SMS Lincoln pennies have reached incredible prices in the collector market. Some high-quality examples have sold for over $100,000 and one outstanding coin sold for more than $180,000 at auction. Even a circulated example, if confirmed to be a real SMS coin, could still be worth tens of thousands of dollars depending on its details and surface quality. This is what makes this coin so special. It shows that even a worn and ordinary-looking penny can hold a hidden treasure. Many people might overlook a 1964 penny because it looks common, but a small number of them are actually among the rarest modern coins in existence. For collectors, this coin is a reminder to always look closely. Small details can make a huge difference. A slightly sharper design, a smoother surface, or a stronger strike can turn a normal coin into something extraordinary. That's why experienced collectors examine every 1964 penny they find. If you ever come across a 1964 Lincoln penny without a mint mark, don't ignore it. Take your time and look carefully at its details. Check the surface, the edges, and the sharpness of the design. If something looks different from a normal coin, it might be worth getting it checked by an expert. Also remember to handle the coin carefully. Hold it by the edges and avoid touching the surface too much. Never clean it even if it looks dirty, because cleaning can damage the coin and reduce its value. Keeping it in its natural state is always the best choice. This coin is a perfect example of how mystery, history, and rarity come together in the world of coin collecting. It reminds us that not every treasure looks shiny or new. Sometimes, the most valuable coins are the ones that look the most ordinary. So the next time you see a 1964 Lincoln penny, take a second look. Because hidden among millions of common coins could be one rare piece that tells a story worth far more than anyone expects. Next up, we take a closer look at a coin that may appear worn out and forgotten, but actually holds a deep story from America's past and a surprising level of collector interest. This is the 1937 Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark, and the example we're talking about today is in old, heavily circulated, and poor condition. At first glance, it may not look like anything special. The surface is dark, rough, and tired. The details are faded, and the coin has clearly spent many years moving through people's hands. But coins like this often carry more value in their story than in their appearance, and sometimes, hidden inside that worn surface is something truly rare. This penny was made during a very important time in American history. The year 1937 falls right in the late years of the Great Depression. Money was tight, jobs were scarce, and coins like this were used every single day for basic needs. People depended on small change like pennies just to get by. That means this coin likely passed through many hands, from shopkeepers to workers, from families trying to survive to children buying small items. Every scratch and mark you see on the surface tells a part of that journey. Since this coin has no mint mark, it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. During that time, Philadelphia did not use mint marks on pennies, which makes it normal for coins from that location to have no letter under the date. Even though that sounds common, it actually makes identifying rare varieties a bit more challenging, because you can't rely on a mint mark to separate it from others. Collectors have to look much closer at the details, the strike, and any unusual features. The design of this coin is one of the most iconic in American history. On the front, you see the portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing to the right. This design was created by Victor David Brenner and first introduced in 1909. Even on a heavily worn coin like this one, you can still make out Lincoln's outline, although the fine details like his hair and facial features are mostly smooth now. The word Liberty is usually found on the left side, and the date 1937 is on the right. Above Lincoln's head, you'll see "I in God we trust," though on a worn coin like this, those letters may be faint. On the back of the coin, there are 2 wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent. Above that, it says United States of America, and across the top is E pluribus unum. This is why these coins are called wheat pennies. The design represents growth, strength, and the agricultural roots of the country. Even though your coin is in bad condition, the overall design is still recognizable, and that's important for collectors. Now let's talk about the condition, because this is where your coin tells its real story. This penny is heavily circulated, which means it was used in everyday transactions for a long time. The high points of the design, like Lincoln's cheek, jawline, and hair, are almost completely worn down. The wheat lines on the back are likely flattened as well. The surface may feel rough, and there could be scratches, dents, and even small areas of corrosion. The color is probably dark brown or almost black, which happens when copper reacts with air, moisture, and time. This is called oxidation, and while it may not look pretty, it is completely natural. Many beginners think that a coin in this condition has no value at all. And yes, in most cases, a common 1937 penny in poor condition would not be worth much. But this is where things get interesting. Value in coin collecting is not always about condition alone. Sometimes it's about what kind of coin it is, and whether it has any rare features or errors. During the 1930s, the minting process was not as advanced as it is today. Machines were less precise, and dies were often reused longer than they should have been. This created opportunities for errors to happen. Some 1937 pennies are known to have double die errors, where parts of the design appear slightly doubled. Others may show die cracks, where small lines appear raised on the coin due to damage in the die. There are also off-center strikes, where the design is not perfectly aligned, and even rare cases where coins were struck on the wrong type of metal. These kinds of errors are what turn an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. Even if a coin is heavily worn, if it has a strong and visible error, collectors will still be very interested. In fact, Many rare error coins have been found in poor condition, simply because they were used in circulation before anyone noticed them. Now here's the part that really grabs attention. Some rare 1937 wheat pennies with major errors have sold for very high prices. Depending on the type of error and how clear it is, values can reach anywhere from $153,700 to $210,000. That kind of price is not for a normal coin, but for a rare variety or error that collectors are actively searching for. And the key point here is that some of these valuable coins were found in circulated, worn condition just like the one you might have. That's why experienced collectors never ignore an old, dark, or damaged coin right away. They take a closer look. They check the date carefully. They study the lettering and the edges. They look for anything unusual, anything that stands out from a normal coin. Because sometimes, the biggest discoveries come from the coins that look the worst. Another important thing to understand is that cleaning a coin can actually reduce its value. Even if your 1937 penny looks dirty or dark, it's best to leave it as it is. Cleaning can remove the natural surface and damage any hidden details that collectors want to see. The original condition, even if it's worn, is always better than a cleaned coin. This coin also holds emotional and historical value. It survived a difficult time in history. It was used during the Great Depression, carried through years of change, and somehow made its way to today. That alone makes it special. For many collectors, owning a coin like this is not just about money, but about holding a piece of history in their hand. So if you ever come across a 1937 wheat penny without a mint mark, especially one that looks old, dark, and heavily worn, don't rush to judge it. Take a moment. Look closer. Check for any unusual features. Because hidden inside that rough surface could be something rare, something valuable, and something that tells a story far greater than its appearance. Sometimes, the coins that look the most ordinary are the ones that turn out to be the most extraordinary. Next up, we're diving into another piece of modern American history, the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial Penny featuring the formative years reverse design, found today in circulated, average condition. At first glance, it might seem like just another worn copper coin, dull from years of handling with scratches and small marks on the surface. But this penny tells an extraordinary story. It's part of a special one-year series created to honor Abraham Lincoln's 200th birthday, a moment when the U.S. Mint decided to break tradition and tell Lincoln's life story across 4 unique designs. Each design represents a stage of Lincoln's journey, from his early childhood, through his formative years, his professional life, and finally, his presidency. This coin belongs to the formative years stage, capturing Lincoln as a young boy sitting on a log, reading a book by the light of the sun, a reflection of his early love for learning and the experiences that shaped his character. Since this penny has no mint mark, we know it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced the majority of these coins for everyday circulation. That's why the majority of these pennies are found in circulated condition today. The coin you see has been used in daily life, passed from pocket to pocket, spent in shops, and collected in jars of change. Over time, this natural circulation has softened the fine details, like Lincoln's cheek jawline, and the subtle contours of the book and his small legs on the reverse. Scratches, nicks, and minor discoloration are visible across the copper surface, and the original reddish luster has faded to a natural brown tone, common for pennies that have aged in circulation. Even though circulated coins are more common, the 2009 bicentennial pennies are special because they represent a unique historical moment. Most pennies never tell a story like this. On the obverse, Lincoln's portrait is the same design that has graced the penny since 1909. Lincoln faces to the right, with Liberty on the left and 2009 on the right, along with I In God We Trust along the top. On the reverse, the formative years design shows the young Lincoln sitting thoughtfully with his book, a simple scene filled with symbolism. Every line and detail reflects the artist's intention to convey a sense of youth, curiosity, and the beginning of a journey that would eventually lead to the presidency. The coin's circulated condition means that some of the fine details are worn. Lincoln's face is slightly flattened, the book lacks the sharp edges seen on uncirculated examples, and the background has smoothed over time. Even so, the overall design remains fully recognizable, and the date is clear. The surface shows environmental marks and minor scratches from handling, typical of a coin that has been used in everyday commerce. This natural wear tells a story of its own, showing that the coin was a part of real-life transactions and not just stored in a collection. Collectors pay attention to coins like this for several reasons. First, the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial pennies are a one-year special series, which automatically gives them a collectible edge. Second, while circulated coins are common, rare errors exist within this series, and even ordinary coins might hide interesting variations. Some 2009 pennies have doubling in the date or letters on the obverse, known as double die errors. Others were struck slightly off-center or with weak details in parts of the reverse design. Errors like these are what make even circulated coins exciting to collectors, because they can turn an ordinary-looking coin into a highly valuable treasure. Certain 2009 formative years pennies with verified errors have been known to sell for high prices, often in the range of $105,000 to $142,000 depending on the rarity and clarity of the mistake. Even in circulated condition, coins like this are still important for collectors who want to complete the full 2009 bicentennial set. Many enthusiasts seek all four designs, and the formative years coin is one of the most sought after because it represents the beginning of Lincoln's journey. Its story is inspiring, and its historical context gives it value beyond just metal content or wear. This coin also shows how modern coins, despite being over a decade old, can have collectible appeal comparable to much older coins, especially when tied to a special event or anniversary. It's important to note that while circulated coins may show wear and discoloration, collectors often value them for their authenticity. A natural brown tone from years of handling, combined with clear design details and a readable date, can indicate that the coin hasn't been cleaned or altered. This kind of natural circulation patina is preferred by serious collectors because it preserves the history of the coin as a tangible object that traveled through real-life transactions. The 2009 formative years penny is also a reminder of how coin collecting can be a journey itself. You don't always need to start with pristine coins. Many significant finds come from ordinary-looking circulated coins. The details may be worn, but the story and historical significance remain intact. Every scratch, every softened detail, and every bit of patina tells a story of the coin's life before it reached a collector's hands. Even though this coin is in average circulated condition, its historical and collectible value should not be underestimated. As more people recognize the importance of the 2009 bicentennial series, coins like this one may become increasingly desirable, particularly for those seeking to complete a set or find an example that represents Lincoln's youth. The combination of history, design, and scarcity creates a lasting appeal that goes far beyond its face value. For anyone examining a 2009 formative years penny, it's crucial to check the details carefully. Look at Lincoln's posture, the outline of the book, the background lines, and the edges of the coin for any signs of doubling, off-center strikes, or weak spots in the design. Even a subtle irregularity can significantly increase the value of the coin. Collectors often use magnification tools to spot these errors, which can turn a simple circulated coin into something that could fetch six-figure prices at auction. Another fascinating aspect is that this penny is a modern coin but still carries a story similar to older coins. Just like a coin from the early 1900s, it has traveled through time in pockets, wallets, and cash registers, accumulating wear, scratches, and a unique patina along the way. This physical evidence of use connects collectors to everyday history, making it more than just a piece of metal. In summary, the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial Penny featuring the formative years reverse design is more than just a coin. It is a snapshot of Abraham Lincoln's youth, captured in a single piece of copper. Even in circulated, average condition, it holds historical significance, potential collectible value, and the possibility of rare errors that can make it extremely desirable among collectors. The coin's worn surface tells a story of daily life and circulation, but it also carries the potential for discovery, especially for those who know what to look for. Coins like this remind us that collecting is about patience, attention to detail, and appreciation for history. The 2009 formative years penny is a modern example of how a small coin can tell a big story, connecting us to Lincoln, to American history, and to the craft of coin making. It also shows that even average circulated coins can hold surprises and value. Serious collectors know that, with careful observation and research, a coin like this one could be worth between $108,500 to $137,000, especially if it displays an unusual error or stands out among its peers. Even though this particular coin has been in circulation and shows typical signs of wear, it still represents an opportunity. Every scratch and mark is a testament to its journey, and every brown-toned surface carries the weight of history. This coin is a reminder that sometimes the most unassuming pieces of change can hold stories, lessons, and even potential treasures hidden in plain sight, waiting for a sharp-eyed collector to recognize their value. The 2009 formative years Lincoln penny is a coin that blends history, art, and the everyday life of Americans in one small copper disc. It is a treasure for collectors who understand its importance and a teaching piece for anyone curious about the story of Abraham Lincoln and the unique way the U.S. Mint chose to honor his 200th birthday.